Here on our website, ozarkradionews.com, we have the opportunity every now and then to talk to, a wide variety of people, but one of the most fun things that I get to do is talk to, when I get the opportunity, people who are authors, singers, songwriters, things like that. And today in the studio we have with us an author. Knial Piper II is with us in the studio, and we welcome him and thank you very much. I tried to get back to you as soon as I saw your post through our Facebook page, and you got right back to me, and so I thought, well, he's interested in joining us here on our live stream or on our podcast, and we sure thank you for doing that. I see you have a very handsome Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champion T-shirt on today.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. It was a big thrill to see him win the Super Bowl.
It really was. Niall's in the studio to promote his book with us today, which is called The Demonic Virtue. And as I did a little background on the book itself, I didn't want to find out too much about it because I want to ask him questions and let him talk a little bit about it. But in publishing in the book world, to get people's attention, you need something, I don't want to say provocative, that's probably a bad word, but something that will catch people's attention. And that title probably will be an attention getter, you think?
I would hope so, yeah.
This is your second book, correct?
This is my second book. My first book was Freedom Blues and American Soul. And it's also kind of, both these books exist in the same universe. But this one is not necessarily a sequel, it's a separate story. But you might see some crossover if you're a fan and read both books. So
it's not necessarily an arc, but it's connected in some way.
It's just existing in the same universe. Yeah, and some of the characters you might see, well, hey, I recognize that character from the earlier book. And yeah, it was just, this book was a thrill to write.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what the story is, the demonic virtues. Who is the center of the story, and what is it about?
So, Addifer is the main character's name. He's an angel who falls from grace, or from what I call the light from yonder. And in the process of being kicked out from paradise, he is, or becomes, a witness to the Big Bang and the creation of all time. And he finds himself stranded on a lonely planet where he witnesses the evolution and growth of different creatures that in turn turn into man, and his interactions with man, battling the creator, and everything. He experiences everything. You get to embark on this journey with this fallen angel as he goes from, man's primacy, which kind of makes some tales about Adam and Eve, and then it goes through all the Bible stories. Every time the devil pops up in the Bible, where you have Job or Adam and Eve and the Tower of Babel, and then even with Jesus, you go through all of that with him. But then you even go beyond that, and you get to experience Rome, Vlad the Impaler, even into the future with the New World Order and the possible Judgment Day. And it's all his perspective on all of this.
This is kind of a fascinating story. Now, I saw this story described, and give me the correct pronunciation, but the word that I saw was theodicy. Is that
theodicy, correct? Yeah. So this is what I call a mythological theodicy. While it is kind of a mythological tale, it's something I kind of made up based off religion. The theodicy part means not the justification for, but the reason for evil. So a lot of people ask, why is there evil in the world? Why are bad things happening? This book attempts to explain that by basically saying, if there is light, there must also be darkness. The reason for evil is so that existence of good can be.
There's always an opposite, an equal reaction to every action, or something like that.
Yep, complementary.
And you've taken on one of the most popular subject matters, I think. Why do bad things happen to good people? Do you come up with a solution for this, or a reason for this in the book? I'm not asking you to divulge anything here.
Well, I think if you look into the book and you look into the themes, you'll definitely get an answer to that. But it's not outright explained. It's not painted on the pages where it's easy to understand.
One of the more fascinating things, we'll get back to the book here in just a second. One of the most fascinating things with me, with authors, is how do you come up with your subject matter? What pushed you in the direction that you went? I saw Quentin Tarantino, who is a big writer that I like. People usually think of him as a director, but I think of him as a writer. And he says, I just found something I was fascinated in, and I wrote about it. I can't always guarantee that other people will be interested in it, but I was interested in it, and I'm playing on the hopes that some other people will be interested in this. This is just a topic I'm fascinated in: religion, the way it interacts with man, and the devil is one of the most fascinating characters to me. He's the most notorious character of all time, so that gives some reason to discuss him, talk about him. Knial Piper II, the author of The Demonic Virtue, is our guest. We're talking about his second book. Let's mention here, and then we'll mention again when we wrap up. Your publisher is, say that for me again.
Ex Libris.
Ex Libris Publishing Company. How do you find the book?
So you can go online, you can just Google it, The Demonic Virtue, or you can Google my name, Knial Piper. The best way to do it is just go on Amazon and you'll find it there. But you can find it at Books A Million or Barnes & Noble. It's anywhere books are sold.
Obviously, one of the ways you get noticed in the publishing world is to have talent, to be able to write. What was sort of your story is how you ended up getting your first novel published and going on from there? So
actually, I was 13 when I got my first novel published. It's not something I go out there and push because, I was 13 years old. There's some things I look back and say I would do this different. But even when I got my next book, Freedom Blues and American Soul, published 3 years ago, there's always something later on you realize I wish I would have done different. I think it's just a learning process, and I'll probably feel the same way about this book at the end, but this is my magnum opus right now. I really enjoyed this book, and I really enjoyed how it turned out, and I think the readers will too.
Well, as time goes by, who knows what you're going to stumble across or what you're going to decide upon for your next subject matter. Let's go back to this particular book. Big book, right?
It's 466 pages. Yeah, I put a lot of time and research into this. This took hours every week of trying to figure, and I learned a lot myself, trying to figure out who are the historical characters that play a part in the role of time. I had to look into what was Genghis Khan's part in all of this, and all these notorious characters you hear about all the time, like Julius Caesar. How did he die? How was the devil possibly going to be interacted into this? There's a lot of history in this book. It may be general fiction, but it is laced with historical fact. And it's a telling of all time, and I had to do some pretty major predictions about what's going to happen in the future with artificial intelligence and a possible world takeover and whatever the devil may have planned for the future, like the end of religion. It makes some pretty bold claims.
In a book that's as big as this book is, were there times where certain days when you were writing it and you just kind of hit a wall and just said, okay, I'm going to have to back up and take another run at this thing?
Yeah, definitely. There is, Stephen King is also one of my favorite writers, him and Neil Gaiman. And one time, Stephen King said, what you do to get over writer's block is you just keep writing. It could be one of the worst things you've ever written, but just keep writing and something good will come out of it, and you can always go back and edit it. So I did. I had to go back and edit. I think this book ended up being close to 600 pages, and I had to edit it down and change a lot of things because there were times where I hit a wall.
Yeah. Does it come in most cases on a normal day? Does it come easily for you?
I would say it does. It's not a lot of things in my life have been talents or I've been given, but writing is one of those things I've always had a passion for. And I do find that listening to music sometimes helps inspire that. And so this book was written primarily listening to two of my favorite bands, Alt J and Led Zeppelin. The Led Zeppelin factor, I think, really bleeds through, and you can just feel the epic saga-ness of angels versus demons, and Yeah, it's definitely there.
My wife likes to turn up the music in the house when we're doing housework. So, music helps people in a lot of different ways with whatever they're doing. Maybe helps the thought process, or just kind of puts you in the right mode to do whatever you're trying to do. So, with this particular book, do you already have something in mind for the third volume of the Knial Piper II series?
I have another idea, because I would like to make this kind of a trilogy where the 3 stories all exist in the same universe, and they kind of be like the Devil Saga, because the first book also deals kind of with the devil character. But I've got 4 or 5 books I'm working on now, some of which are almost finished. Actually, I have 2 that are finished, hopefully to come out within the next year. And those are unrelated to this story, but yeah, I love working on books, and it's something I'll do for the rest of my life.
Again, our guest is Knial Piper II. He has written this book, The Demonic Virtue, which is available for purchase, and we'll have him go through that one more time before we wrap up here in just a few moments. Knial, we have probably some people that may be listening to this who are aspiring authors. So, what would your advice be to them? Maybe not necessarily on getting published, but just the art of writing. Some people probably come by it a little more naturally than others, but I'm sure a lot of hard work goes into everything that you do. So, what kind of advice would you give an aspiring author if they're really interested in it and really want to make a go of it?
Seek a topic that you're passionate about, something that you can write fluently about, and then just take it one day at a time. For a while there were a few books I wrote in the course of a very short amount of time, just because I dedicated myself to doing 20 pages a day. You could do as many as 1 page a day or 5 pages a day, but if you do that over the course of a few months, you have a book. And that's what I would recommend, is just staying diligent, getting a plan, and writing something you're passionate about. It's not any fun if you're not having any fun in it.
Right. I remember hearing Clint Eastwood say one time about making movies, and he said, "I like to make movies that I would like to see or would entertain me." Do you kind of do that sort of thing? Does the subject matter that you write about, is this stuff, I think I heard you say that was a little earlier, stuff that you're interested in, that you would enjoy reading?
Yeah, I definitely write about things that I would enjoy reading myself. I will think about it in a way of, is there a book about this? If there's not, can I create this? Because this is something I would read, so there's a big chance that there's people out there who also feel the same way and would like to read a story like this.
Is there the temptation to try and be unique and be different in what you write, how you write, the subject matter you write about?
Well, I don't know so much how it probably is a unique subject matter, but I'm sure there's other books out there. Let's see, James Milton wrote Paradise Lost, which is the story. It's an epic poem about Satan's fall from Earth, and it's a huge story. It's a lot different than this book, but obviously he had some of the same influences, religion. And then I tried to paint this as kind of like a Hobbit tale. The book, when you open it up, it feels like you're reading some biblical passage or Lord of the Rings, and it just takes you on a journey, on a myth.
That's great. Once again, as we wrap up here, tell us again, your publisher is Ex Libris Publishing. Is that correct?
Yes, Ex Libris.
Okay. What's the best? Can you get your book through Amazon?
Yeah, that's the best place to get it. Go on Amazon and type in The Demonic Virtue. It's a big red book.
Okay. And we're really big on promoting people from our local area and try to give them a little bit of a leg up if we can, and let people know. And part of your book selling is people knowing it's out there, and so we would invite you to check out. And that's what so many people do. That's the easy thing to do. Just go through Amazon if you're looking for the book, and you'll be able to find it there. It's called The Demonic Virtue, and it is available to the public. Did it get released this week?
I was telling people that it was August 15th, but I was saying that because this week has been super busy for me. I wanted to have more time to push it. I had to take the bar exam this week, so I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be a lawyer soon.
Right.
But it's out now. Yeah, you can go on Amazon and you can find it now.
Okay, excellent. Knial Piper II. Look for it through Amazon, and if you're in a bookstore somewhere, Barnes & Noble or whatever, you might keep an eye out for it there if you happen to be in one of those stores here in the future. It's a very compelling book from just what I've read about it, but The Demonic Virtue is its name. Knial Piper II is the author of it. He's our guest, and we thank you very much for coming in today.
Thanks, Harlan.